make like a little reel. My name is Reese. I also have a project called Coastal Creature with my friend Parker. My main project right now, I would say, is my solo project, which is just Reese. My government name. I met my friend Parker, who is my collaborator for Coastal Creature. I met him when I moved to Atlantic Beach. So I started releasing music for Reese, my solo project, in 2021, and then we probably met in 2022 or maybe really late that same year, 2021. So they've been alongside each other. Yeah, Parker's just really busy, so when we first started Coastal Creature, I was like, this is all I want to do. I don't want to do my solo project anymore, but I wanted to move so much faster than him. Like, I was just like, let's go, let's do it. And then for our Coastal Creature project, he's just really busy. Like, one song done a year. But that's not cutting it, so I'm just doing both. I don't know how much you know about Spotify and the algorithm and all that BS, but they basically, just like social media, they reward you the more you post. Like, the content to them has zero value. The art, they don't care about art. And they're just, the more you post and the more you put out, the more they push your music through the algorithm. So I'm like, Parker, this can't work. Lock in. I'm actually born in Ohio. I moved around quite a lot in my life, but I landed in the area during COVID because my parents were living here. I was actually living in Australia at the time of COVID, and that got ruined. You know, nothing like a global pandemic to damper your working visa. Jacksonville is so interesting to me. I have like a love-hate relationship with it. I think what drew me to Jacksonville was very much having all the parts of a city that I liked, but having a slower lifestyle a bit, especially because I live at the beach, so it's quite slow. But it did take me a really long time to find people here that I connected with. And I don't know if that's like because I was going the wrong places, or it's just harder to find the like creative people here maybe from the outside. But I only feel like I've made friends that I really have connected with in the past year. So the first couple years I was here were just really lonely, honestly. Yeah, and the more I stay, the more I really enjoy it. Yeah. I also feel like with like queer culture and, like you said, just anything that's a little bit outside the box, sometimes I feel like Jacksonville as a society in general does kind of make you feel weird. Like, I never shaved my armpits for like years and years and years, and then I came here and I would like meet guys and they'd be like, ew, you don't shave your armpits? And I'm like, I just moved back from Melbourne, Australia, where like some of the hairiest girls I've ever seen in my life, sexiest, hairiest girls ever exist. And then I came here and they're like, yeah, like I thought you were cute, but then I saw that you don't shave your armpits. And I'm like, where am I right now? Where am I? Just like little things like that were... I feel like you probably exist in this bubble as well. Once you find your bubble of people that think like you and kind of have the same like ideologies and like morals as you, you're safe in that bubble, you know? You find that safe space, but when you're new here and you don't know anyone, and you don't have that bubble, you're just out here with hairy armpits, like telling people you make pop music, like people are just like, who are you? What are you doing here? My earliest recollection of wanting to be an artist, honestly, was really young. Do you remember those CD players that had a huge tray for 8 different CDs? Mm-hmm. I would literally put 8 CDs in there, grab the nearest hairbrush, and just sing every word to every song on every CD. And that was my hobby when I was a kid. So I think deep down I probably always wanted it, but I never thought it was plausible or something that I could actually do until my life got flipped around during COVID, and I had just gotten out of a super long-term relationship, and I just moved to a different hemisphere, and I had been working on some music, and something just kind of changed inside of me that was if you don't do this now, you're never gonna do it, so you might as well try. I'm really proud of just hitting the ground running, and that is one thing that I really do love about Jacksonville is the gatekeepers aren't so hard to find as far as music, so you can get stuff done. Yeah. I would describe my sound as dark pop or sad pop, I say a lot. I really love using the tonalities of pop music. I like bright, shimmery guitar sounds. I really love heavy synthesizers and just really dreamy sounds. But I do tend to write more just very much about the emotional trials of being alive. So yeah, I think my music has a nice alternative pop sound to it, but definitely most of the context is a little bit more serious, I guess, or just a little bit more emotional than most pop. I also start all my songs with guitar mostly, so it has that kind of indie sound to it, I would say. If that's even a word that makes sense to describe sound. Finding where you fit in that is part of the fun and part of the journey too. Because I would probably, how I just described my sound to you, I would have probably said something completely different 1 year ago and 2 years ago. And the music doesn't sound that much different, but it's more just honing in on what it is that you want to be as an artist, and also finding that niche. I write a lot in retrospect, so it sometimes, and maybe this is just my lack of having a therapist, but it takes me so long sometimes to process things. Right now, I'm still writing about things that happened years ago, but then it's also a mix of new experiences and just figuring out a way that I can paint the picture that I want to paint with my words, and using that more strategically than I would have in the past. 'Cause in the past, it would be very much journal entry lyrics, fuck this, everything, whatever, sucks, okay. But now I'm let's Lana Del Rey this bitch, okay? What soda are we drinking? What does our lip gloss taste like? Thinking more of, more intentional. Just know I'm gonna Lana Del Rey this shit. She has such a cool, descriptive,
storytelling.
Yes, yeah. But it's very sensory motivated and very kind of superficial isn't the word I'm trying to use, because I don't mean that, but just the qualities of the words she uses are very on brand of who Lana Del Rey is as an artist, you know what I mean? Love Ethel Cain! Yeah, I didn't even know that Preacher's Daughter was a concept album. You can listen to American Teenager 100 times and you're oh, this is a pop banger, and then you actually process what she's saying, and it's like, oh my God, I'm crying. Ethel Cain, I will say, it's so funny you brought her up because I was feeling so uninspired for a minute there, and I found her music, and it was like a breath of fresh air because it felt so unique to who Ethel Cain is. And then just the Southern Gothic like motifs that she uses in all her like imagery, and the sound itself, just like how you said, haunting, but also dreamy. And her music really inspired me for, as soon as I found it, for a while. Like when I found American Teenager, I hyperfixated on that song so badly. I don't think I listened to anything else for like 2 months. Lana Del Rey was who, when I was learning to play guitar, I was just a Lana Del Rey cover band when I was 16. Like, just go, hey mom, look at this. The two main ones for me are probably Lana and the 1975. Through the years and how perception of them has shifted, sometimes I'm like, yeah. I've seen them 6 times in 3 countries. Like, I was hardcore fangirl when I was younger, and I think it was just because my mom, you know, she was really into that 80s sound, and I always thought she was lame for it, but then it was like, badass boy band does it, and I'm 17, and they're singing about drugs. They've really inspired, especially guitar-wise, how I like the guitar sounds to be. They have inspired that heavily. There's a bunch of new artists that have been really inspiring me lately as well, like Chapel, of course. I love the Japanese House. I know Courtney Barnett. She's a little bit like avant-garde, but she's Australian, and she was very involved in the sort of indie rock scene there at the time when I was living there, and she inspired me a lot as well. I could go on and on and on, but those are the main ones. My favorite ones are the ones that I'm about to release, honestly. I've been working with Patrick from Trash Panda, and I love Trash Panda and Pat. We moved here around the same time, and we met shortly after I think we both moved here, and he was always a big supporter of the Coastal Creature project that Parker and I had, and it came to be that we ended up working together on a couple songs that I'm about to release, and I have never worked with anyone so awesome in my life. Like, Pat is just so awesome. He's so talented, but he's also just so nice and patient, which are not the qualities of most producers I know. There's 2 songs we worked on together that I'm about to release. One's called Breakfast for Dinner, and then one's called Good Girls. These are my 2 favorite songs I've ever worked on. They're very different, but Breakfast for Dinner is basically about hating your service industry job. Like, hating it and just questioning what you're doing with your life. And it's a very 80s pop sound. And then Good Girls is like a little bit more scandalous and a little bit more like that dark pop vibe. And I'm so excited to release them because I feel like the songs that I've put out so far have a special place in my heart, but everyone just gets a little bit better. Breakfast for Dinner is coming out at the end of this month, so at the end of August. And then Good Girls should be out either late September or early October. I'm excited. Jacksonville has been really cool. I started getting really connected with Alex from The Walrus. I sent him my music video to I Know Now very early on when I was not doing much. And he was doing a music video showing of like a party where they were doing all local artists' videos. I sent it to him by chance, and he ended up playing it. And ever since then, they've been really supportive of everything I've been doing. So I kind of found a really, really safe space and a really awesome like community through the Walrus. And they've put me on some of the coolest shows I've played, and I mean, Winterland, they're heavily involved with, and I got to play that in February, which was so cool. But since then, also, I've been working on a little passion project, which is called Lady Luck Presents. So the Annie Dukes are an amazing rock girl group in Jacksonville, fronted by one of my best friends, who is Cassidy. And Cassidy and I started this little project called Lady Luck, and we've been booking shows for mostly female and like queer-centered artists, because I feel like there's a little discrepancy in the booking scene in Jacksonville with that. We've been doing Lady Luck, and since we've been doing that together, we've been putting on these shows, and I feel like that's really what has made my love for Jacksonville blossom and has made me feel at home here, because I've just met so many people here that inspire me so much. I listen to the Annie Dukes, I listen to Coy Boy, I listen to like Babe Honey, Sunchild. There's Rhodey, if you know, she used to have a band called Bad Madonna, but her new project's Rhodey. Even like my friend Lucy Lind, Tori Nance. Do you know Music by Soft? Like, I adore them. They're so cool. They're just iconic.
They are.
Every time they step out, they step out. They're really good performers too. Like, I'm not one to come to the front and shake a little booty, but every time Soft is playing, I'm like, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go shake some. Move out the way. I was gonna say that earlier when we were talking about inspiration. I've been really inspired just by my peers in Jacksonville lately, and I honestly listen to local music probably just as much as I listen to anything else at the moment. There's so many cool, talented musicians here. In 5 to 10 years, I would love to be producing my own music. That's really my main goal. I would also love to produce music for other women. I think women are pushed out of that scene a lot, but it's just, everyone is just condescending. Like, if you need someone to explain something to you about technology that is needed for production, instead of really trying to help you, I feel half the time they're just trying to confuse you so that you just give up. And I think women have been historically really pushed out of the technology side of music, but with how the industry is right now, you really do need to be able to produce yourself to save money as an independent artist. And so I would love to work towards that for my own, but also 10 years from now, if I could sit down and have my own studio and have women come in and just offer a space, a producer that is a woman, because I've still to this day never worked with a female producer, and I think having a woman in that space would be really beneficial. I think the energy can sometimes just be like, you never know, why is this man trying to work with me? What does he want from me? Does he actually think I have good music, or does he want something else? Or is he actually gonna listen when I tell him that I want this turned up in the mix? Or is he just gonna do what he wants because he thinks he knows better? And I've experienced a lot of that, and I would love to be part of the force to change that a little bit.